In this video, I'm going to compare the 18-inch Neewer light. This is one of the later models with the set that it comes with. It comes with the stand and some accessories. And I'm going to compare that to the angular bicolor LED light, also 18-inch. This one, the Neewer on Amazon, goes for around $130 in the set. It comes with the light, the case, the stand, accessories, all for $130. And the angular, just by itself, is around $150. So let's look at these one at a time, and then we'll compare it side by side. Looking at the Neewer first, they give you this carrying case. It's not very durable, but it's good that they give you a case. Let's open this up here. There's some pockets where I'm gonna throw in the accessories once I open it. And it comes just like this, the whole ring light. The difference with this model in comparison to one of the higher selling models on Amazon, Neewer makes, these 18-inch ring lights have been very popular. So have the smaller diameter ones, but the 18-inch has been really popular. And the previous model from this one is one of the higher rated ring lights of this kind, but this newer version has a touchscreen control on the front. Usually all the controls are on the back, but because this is meant more for vloggers are always facing the light, not behind the light. So when they're facing the light, you want to have controls on the front. That's what this was made for. Stronger mount here to adjust the angle. Wow, this is really strong. Can't even adjust this. This is still really light though. It might look heavy, but this is pretty light. Oh, they just threw these in. Let's see what we got here. We got a Bluetooth controller. If you want to sync this up to your phone, that way you can control it. I don't use these things. Then we have the power adapter. This plugs into the light. You get a on and off switch. And I think the dimmer and the color temperature control is on the light. Put your phone on here. This is very cheap. You have quarter 20. Spins 360, but you can't go back and forth. Yeah, this is not, I don't plan on using this ever. Comes with a ball mount. Doesn't have a quarter 20 on the bottom. And it's got a flimsy turn knob. I don't think I'll be using that. Oh, a remote control to remote control the light. That's good. I might use this, but I don't think I will use this. I can see how vloggers might want to use this because they don't want to walk towards the light. They'll just control it. And now let's open the light stand. Oh wow. This is substantial. It's an all-metal construction, except they have plastic joints. And it's spring-loaded. I can feel the springs. It's not very well designed, but the spring load is to help so that a heavier light doesn't slam on your hand when you're holding the stand. Yeah, this is not the best stand I've seen, but hey, it comes with this stand and it's decent. Now here's the angler. Angler? Angler. I'm gonna call it Angler. Velcro. This case is a little nicer than Neewer's case, but not by much. The foam padding. I see. That might have to be permanent to hold the integrity of the case because this is all nylon, cheap nylon. Let's see what accessories this came with. Okay, it looks like this is the power brick. Power cable, yep. This is a long one, nice. Then you have the same kind of accessories, okay. Have a ball mount. This one looks smaller, but still just as cheap. Another one of these designs. This is all plastic. This is Still cheap looking and feeling, except there's more features. So this is an upgrade. It's not spring loaded, you have to twist it. Not sure if I'm ever gonna use this, but this is better than the Neewer. And it also comes with, comes with a mirror. A mirror with a cold shoe mount. Interesting, never seen that before. Then the light itself, the light itself is much thicker and heavier. It's much thicker and heavier than the Neewer light. This light looks like you could take in NPF batteries, Sony NPF batteries, 2 of them. And all the controls are in the back. Here are the 2 ring lights side by side. The quality overall is leaning towards the Angular. The Angular is just better all around. It should be. It's really expensive, way more expensive than the Neewer. And this was on sale too when I got it. I think retail it goes for maybe $250. I was wrong. I said it was like $150. I think it goes more for $250. But let me go through the differences here. The thickness of the ring. When I first opened up the Neewer, I was complimenting how thin the ring is in comparison to the Angular. But in practical use, the Angular is way brighter than the Neewer. And also this thin ring here doesn't necessarily translate to better light on the face. And when I'll flip these around and I'll show you the difference in the front. But here they're both set to 50% brightness on 5600 Kelvin. They are bicolor, 32 to 56. But when I cycle through the color, the Angular stays pretty consistent in its output, in its lumens output, whereas the Neewer is a significant drop from tungsten to daylight, where the center Kelvin around 4000 is the brightest. And you can't really see any of the information here, but on this side you can see with the Angular, you can see the percentage of the dimness and then the color temperature very clearly in the back. How to turn this on? There's a switch here. You switch it on first, and then you can dial them in. With the Neewer, there's a switch on the AC connection, so you switch that on first, and then all the connections are on the front, and I'll show you on the front. But what I noticed, it's a touchscreen display, and I was already using the remote. The remote's already coming in handy. So let me flip this around. Oh, another thing with the Neewer, with this mount, I wasn't able to articulate it without completely removing the joint here and tilting it down and then putting everything back in, which took a while. None of it is made out of metal. It's all plastic. I at first was trying to jam it with force, and then I started to hear it almost break. So I just undid it and did not move it. That's why it's angled down a little. I'm afraid that I'm just going to break it, which is a big flaw. The connection here, the stand with the Angular, even though it's still plastic, I was still able to articulate it much easier. The joint here looks like it's metal, although the screw tightener is plastic, but it's just way better built, and the light stand mount can detach from the light, so you could put any quarter 20-inch stand directly on the bottom, whereas here, see these 4 screws here, it's permanently attached, and I don't know if you can just easily remove them and put in a third party. I think you're just gonna have to buy a replacement part from Neewer. So let me swap this around so you can see the quality of this light. And here's the touch screen, which is nice, right? If you're a vlogger and you're always having the light facing you, you want to see the controls. So you could touch it here, and then you can see the percentage of brightness. You hit this other button, and it slides over to color temperature. And you can see now, when I go to 56, it's a little dim. And then as I go down the scale, it gets brighter. because it's using more of the LED combination. And then when I go back to 32, it dims. So the LEDs in here, I think I read 272 individual LEDs, and the Angular has 240 individual LEDs inside. But it's brighter and more consistent and better CRI. The color rendition is around 98 plus. This is rated at 95, which is good, but you have more bulbs, and the brightness and the color accuracy isn't as good as the Angular. So then once I dial that in, if you want the absolute brightest, you go about 4,000. So when I go 4,000, yeah, you can see it got way brighter, right? And this is only at 50%, so let me go back to the percentage. And this touchscreen is okay. It's not as nice as you would think, but this is better than dials, I guess. Unless you have long fingernails, then it's a little bit difficult to press. But then that's where the remote control comes in. Oh, and the remote control, I thought it turns on and off the light, but you can't control on and off with the remote. You just can control the brightness and the color temperature. So right now, I'm going to change the brightness. So that's 100%. Let's go down to 0, 10. It doesn't go to 1 to 10. It just goes just up to 10. Go up the scale, and then let's change the color temperature using the remote. You can't really tell on this camera because it looks all right, but with my eye, I can see a lot of the individual bulbs because it looks like there's bulbs that are daylight and bulbs that are tungsten staggered, and then depending on which color temperature you turn on, it switches off the other or dims the other. So I can see with my naked eye individual bulbs, and that's not good when you're looking at the ring light. It damages the eye when you can see the individual bulbs of the LED light versus the Angular that I'm going to show you. But right now, it does what it's supposed to do, and it has its... here's where you put your phone or your camera. Actually, I wouldn't put a camera here. This is really flimsy. This is just good for a phone or a small GoPro or webcam. A full DSLR, I would be very wary of putting a DSLR on here, on that cold shoe mount. So now let me turn over the Angular. I'll flip over the Angular now. And here, it's thicker, and it's more consistent. You can't really tell. Let me turn off the Neewer here, or I'll flip the Neewer around. There you go. Now with the Angular, it's still 18 inches thicker, but to my eye, all of this panel here is more diffused. It's very milky, and it doesn't hurt my eye when I'm looking into it. And this doesn't have a remote control, so I'm just going to go in the back here, and I'm going to change the color temperature. Yeah, there. So I'm changing the color temperature, and as I'm changing the color temperature, you can notice that it doesn't shift in brightness as much as the Neewer does. So let me go to 5600, and let me do the dim. So this is 50%. So let me go to, oh, that's going down. Now I'm going to go there. That's 100%. 100% looking right into it. This is pretty bright for me. The camera I'm shooting on, this is a Sony ZV-1. I'm shooting at 4K 30p, 1/60th shutter speed. I'm at an f2.8, but my ISO is all the way down to 125. So this is very, very bright. You wouldn't want it that bright. You want to maybe dial it down. And this right here, you can't see it, but it's another plastic cold shoe mount. This is plastic. The Neewer is plastic. And again, I would not trust a DSLR, a heavy camera on here. What I would do if you are shooting with a mirrorless camera or a bigger DSLR camera, I would get another stand, a tripod stand, and put it behind it, and then just shoot through it. But if you have your phone or a webcam, you can use the included accessory mount for the Angular and also the included mount for the Neewer. But yeah, those are the main differences I see. Is the Neewer worth it? Yeah, if you're just starting out and you got nothing and you're a vlogger, specifically if you're a vlogger or into makeup and you look directly at the light and you rarely have the light pointed at stuff, the light's always pointed at you, then I think the Neewer could be a good investment. But if you're more advanced and you're doing a more variety of things, or you want to go remote with it, because it does have MPF batteries on the back here, and then these MPF batteries here, you can put on 2, and they last at full blast. I think the specs were 2.5 hours. So 2 of those big MPF batteries that you can get third party, and they're fairly cheap, that you could run this off battery power off in the woods or something. So if you need more flexibility and you're not just in your bedroom shooting makeup videos, you can use this for a lot more things. Oh, I just noticed there's another cold shoe mount on the top of this. Cool. So there's one on the bottom, one on the top, but the Neewer doesn't have that. Yeah, so more advanced people, I would get the Angular, more professional. This looks like a better investment. But they're both decent. They're both fine. They both can work. What do you think?